So Matthew is going ahead and assigning some of the points into her abilities, and now we're looking at what we're calling my story. This is really your story journal. It keeps a log of all the decisions and choices that you've made through your story so far, and also where you should be heading next. So I've been talking about our dynamic event system, and one of the things about dynamic events is, by their very nature, yes, they are dynamic. You don't know when exactly they're going to be occurring. They're not static, and so it's very important that we get people out exploring the world so that they can experience these dynamic events ad hoc, as quickly as possible. So to do that,
fields around Seymour
introduce the scout system.
We'll work hard.
Now there are some people who play MMOs where they just want to go out and explore and have with no guidance whatsoever. There are others who prefer pointers to where they think interesting content will be. And that's the point behind the scout system. We put these markers on your world map, gently point you in the right direction, so you'll see some interesting dynamic event content. So let's go ahead and head down. Earlier during the cinematics, I talked about our hand-painted illustrated quality. You can definitely see it in some of the objects that we have throughout the game world. We try to keep that feel very much consistent across everything. So Matthew, do we know which events are ahead?
We're heading in the direction of what I hope will be an event.
I think I see some fire. The cool thing about most dynamic events is it's very obvious visually. If there's like a lot of fire, a lot of smoke going around, there's probably something there that you should check out.
Grab a bucket and stand by.
So in this particular case, bandits have been setting the wheat hail potatoes on fire. One of the things that Matthew was able to do is, first of all, beat the bandits. Do we have any water buckets flying around?
Yeah, I can grab it.
The other way to participate in that is just pick up a water bucket. This is what we call an environmental weapon. It went ahead and changed its skill log to a bucket that you can then use to put out fires.
Looks like there aren't any fires, but I can possibly use that water bucket.
Everyone who eats meat and drinks milk, thanks.
Somebody's go ahead and use the bucket to pick up more water than Chrys. You can imagine with this particular type of mechanic, there are any number of things that you could be picking up. Plants to help repair a fence or use as a weapon. Do you want to see the broom mothers up? She's always a fun one. Sorry? Yeah, so chance, again, it's lots of visual cues, encouraging people to stay in the world, not looking at their skill log necessarily or something else. You're paying attention to this world. You'll see stuff where it's very obvious, hey, I want to get involved with that. It looks like fun. Now, as I mentioned, dynamic events have the ability to scale up depending on the number of people. Oh, tail swipe. The number of people who get involved. Now, that tail swipe you saw there is an example that when there are only a couple of people involved in the event, Broom Mother doesn't have that skill. But as the event scales up, she will acquire skills to make it more fun and interesting. About our combat, as I mentioned, we want it to be pretty action-oriented. So what Matthew just did is he demonstrated that in our game, there is There's no dedicated healing or resurrection class. Every profession, every player can revive a person on the battlefield. What this does is, one, it keeps combat very fast-paced, and secondly, it really does create that social cooperation that everybody can help everybody else. And we found that people love, it's not just for healers anymore. Everyone loves to come in and help revive somebody. So defeater. Yep. And as you see in the upper right, we get notifications. You have succeeded, and the rewards are due. Alright, I feel pretty good. We've got a couple of dynamic events. Let's head over to Divinity's Reach. So we're going to continue our personal story, which has instructed us to head over to Divinity's Reach. Divinity's Reach is the last great human city of humanity, and as such, we made it appropriately grand and epic. Divinity's Reach is really a great opportunity for us to demonstrate our new engine technology. Our new engine technology allows us to do very large-scale, sophisticated environments. We can do all sorts of complex lighting and shading and textures. We can even, as I mentioned, do things like custom weather, depending on the appropriateness. We want to see if we can hear some of the ambient dialogue. Put the volume up. As you come into one of these cities, make them feel alive, make them feel bustling. We recently announced that we've been doing a lot of voice work for Guild Wars 2, and we announced that we basically are going to be putting 60 feature films worth of voice acting into our game. This is just one of the ways that we would be doing this ambient dialogue that you hear around the world that makes you feel the world's alive, and also you'll be learning very subtly what's going on in the world if you're listening to what people are talking about. The map you've taken us to here is it's our shooting gallery. It's just an example of a kind of mini game. We're going to be placing mini games in each of the cities so that players, when they're enjoying a little downtime between combat and adventure, have other activities that they can get rewarded. Listening to the dialogue, again, you won't have to read about stuff, but you will learn things about the different races. You'll learn things about how humans think of the Norn or the Azura. And that's cool, I think it's much more entertaining to hear it, especially with a little attitude, than to read it. Now, I mentioned that we have the new engine technology for Guild Wars 2, and I also mentioned that we have a phenomenal concept art team. What I'm about to show you is an example where you put an incredibly talented, imaginative art team within an incredibly sophisticated engine team, and you can deliver incredible vistas like this one, an interior environment. This is the Palace Gardens. We're very proud of them. They look stunning in day or night. But the other challenge of our engine is, if you're familiar with Guild Wars, we wanted to make sure that the game played on a very wide variety of 3D gaming PCs. We're not going to be pushing the highest edge of the tech envelope. So to be able to deliver amazing visuals and still have it run on a broad base of 3D gaming PCs has been a great challenge for our engine team, and they've definitely done it. Yeah, we really don't like those centaurs. Alright, let's go ahead and head over to the Homelessness. So I mentioned that we have the personal story, and personal story happens a lot in business. So here you'll see the city of Divinity's Reach is like a big wheel, 6 spokes, and each in between the spokes is a district. Here you have the Summer District, which is going to, for the humans, play the role of the home instance. The home instance is tied to your player. It will be set up to reflect the choices you made in your biography. But the home instance is a lot more than that. It will really, over time, the home instance will continue to change in a reflection to how you played the choices you made in your personal story. As an example,